Who is this guy calling for $60 silver? Would you believe me if I told you there's even more? $3,000 gold? And I know you'll find this hard to believe, but there's even more. He says all of this could easily happen within the next 6 months. Hey, we have a new friend. Doesn't it feel good to make a new friend? Who is this mystery man? Man of intrigue and exaggerated predictions for the gold and silver market. We love him, right? His resume includes companies like Fidelity Investments, ITT. His name is David Hunter. He's been around for decades, worked on Wall Street, has an impeccable ability to predict the future. Well, he's not always right, but we sure hope he's right this time. Let's talk about what he's predicting, because if nothing else, it would make for a real good time. I think he'd even be Susie's new friend, because if his predictions come true, we're all going to be so rich. Heck, the bear is going to lose the blindfold. Don't forget, the blindfold comes off the bear at $2,500 gold. Let's not waste any more time and dig in right now. So do yourself a favor and look up David Hunter. Watch some of his recent interviews. You're going to like what he says, and he's had some really great predictions in the past. Let's hope he's right this time. But please, first, suffer through the next 5 minutes with me. I won't even tell you any bad jokes. Well, I may tell you a bad joke later, but nonetheless, what David sees playing out in the next 6 months as a storming higher general stock market, and the precious metals in particular going much, much higher. He's even talking about the S&P 500 getting to 6,000. But why? What's going to cause this? The dollar rolling over, which it's already doing, interest rates going down, which they're already doing, and not a pivot from the Fed. We don't even need a pivot. All we need is a pause. And I don't know about you, but I'm starting to feel that right now in the market. I heard somebody earlier talk about the fact that now all the beach balls that have been held underwater for the last 2 years, now that the kind of macro, to use a fancy word, environment is starting to change, they're starting to bounce up from being underneath the water. That would include that big, pretty beach ball called gold and the other pretty beach ball called silver. David talks about how the Fed had over-tightened during 2022. And now, as we move into 2023, even though Jerome Powell and his minions, as I believe David referred to them, I don't call them minions. I have the utmost of respect for Jerome Powell. Me and the bear, we know what he can do to the price of gold and silver, but nonetheless, they also want the stock market to be down, but they can't control that. And when they do have to pause, the market is so primed and ready, it's just going to take off. And that's what David thinks is going to happen in the first 6 months of 2023. But this is the scary part. This is what we have to pay attention to. He says that after the market shoots up, almost like a blow-off top, although I don't think he necessarily referred to it as that then we're going to have a major crash correction that's going to last a long time. He's saying we're going to have a last hurrah during these first 6 months of 2023, and then we'll have a decade where the markets won't really recover back to the point where they're going to hit here in the next 6 months. He's saying that the markets could go down as much as 70 or 80% starting in the second half of this year, and the metals and the miners won't be immune. They'll also go down as well, although he did mention that he thinks the recent lows of about $1,600 for gold and let's say $17 for silver, that those numbers won't be reached again. Gold and silver, remember, silver's going to 60, gold's going to 3,000. When this second half crash occurs, the metals prices will go down, but again, they won't go down to where they were late 2022. What do you think about all this? Sure, it sounds great. I'll tell you my perspective. If David's scenario plays out in the first 6 months and we get silver and gold prices even that approach those levels, I'm going to sell out and see if his predictions for the second half of the year come true as well. Nobody knows. Nobody has a crystal ball. David's been around for decades. I think it's worth listening to what he has to say. And gosh, I got to admit, I secretly really hope that what he's talking about comes true. I have a feeling you probably do too. One thing I know for sure, I appreciate you joining me yet again here in the basement, and I'll see you soon.